At this moment, I would like to greet everyone a pleasant day to all of you. So before we begin, let me introduce first my group members, Paredo Esa, Kasipli Hesa May, Katikalas Faith, Magsalin Marites, and Venantia Rachel Ann, and we are the group 3.
To start with, here's the background and theoretical framework of the study. Blended learning is an educational technique in which traditional in-person lessons are reinforced or facilitated by technology, and students use both online and offline materials. English language proficiency is an important element in establishing academic performance of education students in the preparation for the actual field and future employment. According to Launer 2010, the language learning process is highly individual and complex. According to socio-imposed theory of language proficiency, granted the fact that generally the powerful determine the right and wrong of issue in life, we are of the view that language proficiency, besides the psychological aspect, can have a sociological one. For instance, the way Bachman 1990 has defined language proficiency is very close to the reality of language learning in all contexts of language education. This definition of language proficiency seems to be less politically value-laden, having scientific value. As future language teachers, it is in this regard that the idea to conduct a study on the language skills proficiency in English major students amidst blended learning is very important. As English major students, we find it worthwhile to determine the status and effectivity of blended learning in the development of language skills proficiency of English major students. Now, let's look at the conceptual framework of the study. We have here the independent variables and dependent variables. Under the independent variables, we have three factors. First one is First personal factors is the year level, wherein it was divided to first year, second year, and third year. And then next is sex, male and female. And lastly is a family socioeconomic status, which is lower, average, and high. And our dependent variable would be language skills proficiency of BSED English major students amidst blended learning.
And for the statement of the problem, specifically it sought to answer the following. Number 1, what is the level of language skill proficiency amidst blended learning of English majors as an entire group and when classified as to year level, sex, and socioeconomic status? Number 2, is there a significant difference of language proficiency of English majors when classified to year level and socioeconomic status? For the hypothesis of the study, there is no significant difference in the level of language proficiency among English major students. And for the definition of terms, we define the following: blended learning, language proficiency, and language skills operationally and conceptually.
And as for our scope and delimitation of the study, this study on the language skills proficiency of students amidst blended learning will be conducted further on school year 2022-2023 among the same BSED English major researchers of West Visayas State University Lambunao campus. A researcher-made and validated questionnaire will be utilized to determine the language skills proficiency of students amidst blended learning. Systematic random sampling will be used to identify the respondents of the study. Sloven's formula will be used to determine the sample size, which should have been 60 because the total population size is 70. However, due to the financial constraint and limited resources, only 45 respondents will be taken. Mean will be utilized to interpret and analyze the gathered data. And for our significance of the study, the result of this study may hopefully benefit the following persons. First is the English major students. This study in language skills proficiency amidst blended learning can be useful in their overall language competence. For English teachers, this study will help them determine the effectivity or the disadvantage of blended learning in language skills proficiency of students. And as for the parents, this study is beneficial to parents since it can help them identify their child's language skills and proficiency. With this, they could be able to guide their children's academic progress, skills, and capabilities or learning language despite of the situation we are facing today. And as for the future researchers, this result will also serve as basis and guide for future research studies.
Chapter 2: Review of Related Literature. Our review of related literature includes the following topics: language skills and proficiency in learning, blended learning, other related studies. The most common approach to blended education involves embedding face-to-face instruction with web-based techniques and instructional tools. Students are free to choose learning formats, combine media and methods so that subjects are taught in the best way possible. Employing media, which allows students to adapt materials to their individual learning needs and allow truthful evaluation of students' achievement. Lauzon 1992 argues that early distance learning models hinged more on matters that borders on education rather than learning. According to Sadiko 2015, any language is difficult and easy. Language serves many purposes. Absence of language is mere death of communication. The role that language plays is immense, since time embarked. Identified as the need of the hour, the four necessities in language are commonly known as the four skills: reading, writing, listening, and speaking plays a vital role in any language learning quest.
Moving on to the chapter 3, Research Design and Methodology. Research Design. This study aims to determine the language skills proficiency of BSED English major students amidst blended learning enrolled in West Visayas State University Lambuno campus for the school year 2022 and 2023. In this study, researcher will use descriptive research design. According to Creswell 2020, descriptive research design has the aim to obtain information systematically to describe a certain phenomenon, situation, or population. Hence, it will accurately answer the questions how, what, where, and when this language proficiency of English major students takes its place amidst blended learning. So for the sample participants, the respondents of this study are the 45 English majors enrolled in West Visayas State University Lambuno campus for school year 2022 to 2023. The sampling technique employed in selecting the participants was systematic random sampling. Sources of data and instrumentation. To determine the learner's language skills proficiency amidst blended learning in terms of year level among BSED English major students, the researchers will prepare a questionnaire. This will be divided into two parts, namely, personal information section and main questionnaire.
The data collection procedures. In this part, the researchers will sought permission from the College of Education, Office of the Dean of West Visayas State University Lambuno campus for the conduct of the study. After getting the approval, the researchers will also ask permission from the respective advisors of the said participants. Lastly, the data analysis procedures. In this part, the data collected for this study will be statistically analyzed to provide answers to the problems. After gathering the data, they will be subjected to a statistical test, which is the weighted mean. This will be used to determine the level of language skill proficiency of the respondents. Moreover, we have also included our research instrument where you can see at the last part of our copy. Our group came up with the checklist questionnaires. Then, the instrument was composed of two parts: personal data of the respondents and the researchers made questionnaire. The part 1 of the instrument elicited data on the learner's personal information such as name, year level, sex, and economic status. while the Part 2 consists of a 20-item test questions that are affiliated to learners' language skills proficiency amidst blended learning. They were given 4 categories to determine how proficient they are in basic language skills such as in listening, speaking, reading, and writing. For each category, there were 5 questions to be answered for a total of 20 items. The answers of the respondents may either correspond to the following: 5. Very often, 4. Often, 3. Sometimes, 2. Rarely, 1. Not at all.
And that would be all. Thank you for listening.